Hello, my name is Karen Riddick and I am the Pathways Growth Coach for Dumfries and Galloway. I have a session here about website analytics because one of the most common challenges I hear about is from businesses who say they are struggling to be found. How can they get themselves out there and become more visible? Well, you will find a great deal of help by looking at your website analytics, and yet lots of businesses don't look at them or understand them. So if this sounds like you, let me point you towards 10 essential analytics which will answer 4 important questions for you. The first, are people finding your website? If they find it, are they visiting it? If they do visit your website, are they engaging with your content? And most importantly, is your website delivering meaningful results for your business? So let's start with analytic 1, which is impressions. An impression occurs every time your website appears in somebody's search results, okay? And this is a great start because it means that search engines are able to find and understand your website pages. In other words, your website is technically visible in search results. Now, impressions can come from 2 different sources. Some are organic. This means that your website has appeared naturally because it contains content which is highly relevant to the user's search. Other impressions, though, might have been paid for, and businesses do this to improve their visibility. Impressions only tell us the number of times that your web page has appeared. They don't actually tell us where the page appeared or whether anybody has actually clicked on it. For this reason, the next analytic we look at is search ranking. This shows where your page appears in the search results for a particular query. And you might have a very high position for some search terms and then a lower position for others. Remember, the higher your rank and the more likely people are to click on it. And again, for this reason, some businesses pay for this higher visibility. You'll see this when you do your own online searches and you spot the sponsored listings. But ideally, you don't want to pay for visibility. You want to earn it by optimizing your website and your content so that it does appear naturally. Now, you can actually work out your own rank and position by scrolling through all the pages of results, but a quicker way is just to look at Google Search Console. And if you haven't done it already, make sure you link your website to Google Analytics and Search Console. They will then tell you the search position for common search queries. So now we know that impressions and search rank and analytics will help you to monitor your website visibility. Now we need to look at how many people are actually visiting your site. The third essential analytic, therefore, is click-through rate, or CTR. This literally measures how many people click your website after seeing it in search results. It's usually expressed as the percentage of impressions that turn into clicks. A higher click-through rate suggests that your search listing has high visibility, but also that it looks relevant and inviting to users. Remember, though, that click-through rate is only available for search-based traffic, which has come to your site either organically or through paid search. There are actually other ways for traffic to come to your site, which is why Analytic 4 is about your source of traffic. Once people arrive on your website, it is really useful for you to know where they came from. So as we've just seen, they may arrive through search engines, but they might also come to you through social media, email campaigns, referral websites, and also direct visits, where somebody types your web address or page directly into their browser. And monitoring these traffic sources helps you to understand which activities are bringing visitors to your website. Often website traffic sources is presented to you as a percentage. Ideally, you also want to know how many people are actually visiting the site, and so that brings us on to Analytic 5, which is all about visitors. Now, these user metrics will measure how many individual people visit your website. This is going to really help you to understand the size of your audience and whether your reach is growing over time. And of course, it's important to know where all of that traffic comes from, but you also want to just know the size of that traffic. Now, remember that one person might visit your website several times, but don't worry because they only ever count as a single user, so it helps you to keep on top of your data. If you do want to measure how often your site is visited as opposed to how many people visit, then you can look at sessions, which I've also included on the graphic here. This counts visits rather than individuals, and when you combine the two, it often tells you how many people or what proportion of people might be revisiting your site. So if I've got 4,884 visitors who do 5,300 sessions, that tells me that some of these visitors are coming back, which is also good. Now, once we know how many people are visiting the site, you want to know if they're actually engaging in your content once they get there. And so Analytics 6 is the engagement rate, the measurement of whether visitors actively interact with your content. Now, this might include scrolling through pages, clicking links, viewing multiple pages, or spending time reading content. A high engagement rate usually suggests that visitors are finding your content interesting or useful. And one way we can explore this further is to pick out some of these individual component parts. And in this case, I'm going to go for page views as my 7th analytic. Page views measures how many pages visitors look at during their visit. If people view several pages, then it often means that they're exploring your content, they're comparing options, or they're looking for more information. It can also highlight which pages are attracting the most attention, and that's going to help you to identify popular content as well as some pages that might need improvement. Now, it's great when people just engage with your content and they navigate through your site, but ultimately there's something that you will probably want your visitors to do if you're to reach your goals. And so the next analytic, number 8, is about conversion rate. This measures the percentage of visitors who complete a desired action on your website. Now, conversion can mean different things to different people. It all depends on the purpose of your website. It might involve making a purchase, submitting an inquiry, booking an appointment, or signing up to a mailing list. If there's something that people do that meets your goals, then you can turn that into an event which creates a conversion rate for you. Ultimately, is your website successfully turning visitors into customers or leads? Now, this 9th analytic is very important for anybody who has a transactional website. That means anybody who sells products or takes bookings, and it's about checkout abandonment. This measures how many people begin the purchase or booking process but then leave before completing it. Now, there are some figures which suggest that up to 70% of customers will abandon the checkout process before they complete. If you've managed to get these people onto your website, into a basket and into the checkout process, it is a real shame to lose them. It can often indicate friction or frustration in the process, and monitoring this metric can help you to identify where your customers are dropping off and where some improvements are probably needed. The final metric, number 10, is quite an overall one. It's just about return on investment. So really it's about comparing the revenue that your website generates with the cost of running and promoting it. So you might incur costs for marketing, advertising, technology, and just the time spent for you or somebody else to manage it. You need to know whether those costs are worth it in terms of what you get back from your website. So businesses can pick out different metrics in this case. Two popular ones are ROAS and CPA. So return on ad spend looks at the return that you get for money that you've spent on advertising, and is often expressed as a single figure. For every £1 that you spend on advertising, what do you get back? Similar, you've got CPA, or cost per acquisition. This measures the cost of acquiring a new customer. If you've had to spend a lot of money on advertising, doing leaflets, or however it is you attract your customers in, then you need to know how much that cost you and whether it was worth it for the number of customers that came back in. So however you use return on investment, it's all about helping you to understand whether your website is delivering real financial value for your business. So that is my top 10 analytics for you. Suggest you have a look at them. Obviously have a look at other ones as well, but these are some really good ones to start with. As busy business owners, of course, we need to rely on assumptions and gut instinct, but we all know that the best decisions are often made when they're based on fact. And I can tell you that there are few better places to gather facts than your website analytics page.